how I want to create it with you. So you're going to be a good listener because you are the leader. So you listen and you make it happen. You make everything happen. What the collective goal and how everyone is going to be happy, you're the leader to do it. You understand? To listen and to actually act upon it. That makes a leader, listening to everyone, you know? Not a captain and I'm better and I'm this and I'm that.
I see that.
Okay, I heard everything you said, and I agree with it. And so the transition that I would like to establish is that a captain, although we normally associate a captain as a person, as an entity, a captain can be a process. And the integrity of the process depends on everyone's commitment to agree to follow it. And the moment somebody can deny the process because they have authority over it is when we establish a conflict between what should be the true captain to keep everything in integrity and what is a pretend captain that is now taking control of the ship. So if we can collectively come to an agreement on the process that governs our ability to realize goals and intentions and share resources equally or as needed for the realization of a shared collective vision, goal, mission, and purpose, that process becomes the captain and we all become mates in the same boat.
Aye.
Supreme power, sovereignty.
Let the agreements run the ship.
Yes, definitely.
Because then you can let it go on auto and we can
Yeah,
just love our
autopilot.
life.
Exactly.
And if agreements
It's
are broken,
what-
there's agreements that talk about what to do with those agreements. Like, okay, if an agreement gets broken, then we all agree that person
Exactly.
and it's everything's
Yeah.
and if that gets agrees
to.
Yeah, you're not gonna
So
slip
they're
out. You're not
choosing
slipping
to
out of the
exit from the ship.
funhouse.
That's the way.
and then we even take them back.
Declaration of agreements. I would like us all to to do the agreements together so that we have an actual declaration of agreements that we can go to the world with.
There you go.
Just like the Declaration of Independence.
Agreements. I
Instead
love
of-
it.
That we have
Yeah,
a manifesto
Declaration of
that's
Agreements.
already
Wow.
We
ready.
have to all do it
However,
together.
Total
Agreements
domination.
It's ready. The manifesto is ready.
In the heart.
We have a
Because
manifesto.
Agreements can happen out of anywhere.
That was
What is it
writing
based
and
out
it's
of?
ready.
It's
The
based
heart,
of
of
the heart.
course.
So that's
That's one of the first agreements. We all agree that all agreements that should follow are based from the heart. And now we got our first agreement on the Declaration of Agreements.
Yep.
And so if everyone gets to that one and they nod,
Yeah.
then you
100%
go on.
consensus.
If you say mm-mm, then you go. You don't
It's
come
not
into the
agreed.
nation.
Yeah.
You're not ready.
You're not ready.
Yeah.
I also feel like we are humans that have different emotions every day. Like, I can wake up one day super motivated and wanting to do things, and I do them. Now, there are other days that my body needs rest. So you have to kind of also go with the flow, understanding this, that we are all humans and that we can all wake up in the other side of the bed one day. I think we should add group activities. So this is perfect.
There you go.
But we have to do it on a schedule, you know? And
Yeah.
what I used to say in Cora Vida is, it's mandatory. It's mandatory at first because, hold on.
It changes
please.
from
Hold
mandatory
on.
when you
Hold
put
on.
I agree to attend all events. I just
Okay.
want to say
So
that.
once you're in, you have to accept, you have
You've
to agree
agreed.
that you are going to all these.
That's different than mandatory.
Yeah.
It's only mandatory that I follow
Okay,
my own
it's true,
agreements.
it's true, okay.
That's the only. That's the
So
only.
agree.
You have total freedom in this community. You agree
Mhm.
To honor your
to honor
agreements.
your agreements.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Or you lose the currency.
Yeah.
Then you can't pay rent.
Yeah, it's just
You can actually link it to a
about-
currency.
it's-
I'm not joking.
If we make it a way
It's
that
just, it's the
like
currency is your time.
make the children excited to play,
Your
there
flow.
might gonna be some
Yeah.
resistance
And we'll be able
on the
to do that with the
beginning, just like
blockchain.
any kid, you say, let's go to the beach,
And
honey.
it's like they're feeling,
Nah, I don't
We'll
wanna
be able
go,
to
and
like
then they get
measure
there and
each
have a great
agreement
time.
and making
Yeah.
So
sure
it's just
that
about
people
how
carry
we
through. It
approach
become like a
that. I think
reputation
it's-
system.
And then we
Yeah,
have, well,
it's a lead into it
schedule.
for sure.
We tried a few times before, and Dorian is great. He will always show up. Prism, very good at showing up. he's awesome at showing up too. But then we have a few that we still need, touch the heart and connect,
Integrate
maybe.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one of the very first agreements coming from the heart, the first process where everything is made or broken, is in communication. So we need to get so articulated on our communication process, moment by moment, hand gestures, tone, power exchange, questions, answers, agreements to flowing to the agreements. The whole communication process needs to be articulated with such precision that it would be unspeakable for someone to talk over me or for me to talk over someone. Because that would be like the moment of a violation of an agreement. And once you start taking those little agreements that serious, then you realize who's in integrity and who's not. Because if they've agreed on the communication process and they break the agreement on the communication process, oops, and again, oops, and again, oops, then you know for a fact that person is going to go out in the field when no one's looking, and at some point they're going to be breaking all kinds of agreements.
Yeah, straight up.
I feel like that's great. I think that energy will start up a business if you maintain that energy. Now I also feel like it should be integrated with more of a softer energy, more of the female energy. And if one does, oops, we will treat it with love.
Absolutely.
We will treat it with love. And not, in the other energy.
You're right, thank
so
you.
I
I
feel
hear you
like
on that. I feel you
both
on that.
energies
This is the training
should
ground
integrate.
for them to honor their other agreements. The
Right.
training ground, so that in training you don't bitch slap them unless it's a really rough military.
Or they're into that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be very
Yo,
careful.
If anything, people.
You have to be very careful because we don't want to create a new conditioning energy
Right.
field where someone is constantly worrying about if they're in their agreements or not.
Yeah.
Where they're like, fear, oh no.
Yeah, it's a
I
game.
made a little
You're either
slip
playing
up
or you're
that's
not.
gonna be
Same as
further
any
on my
time.
record.
Exactly.
You know, that type of thing would
You're just
never
either
be.
playing the
We
game or
don't
not.
want
You
fear
choose.
choices.
You always
Yeah,
choose.
we want to make sure that
All choice.
it's done in a way that is encouraging someone to grow into
There
a
you
But
go.
each space does have its agreements, but you can go to different spaces.
we never want the field of how we are creating social currency to feel like a contest or to feel like they have to prove themselves. It's about letting people step into who they are as beings and letting that light shine of the purity of their consciousness.
You've got to make it a game to do that.
Yeah.
I hear you. So
I feel
what
pressure.
if-
I feel pressure when you said that.
What if we turn it into a game, and every time you overstep the bounds on someone else, and there might be a point keeper or something, and they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's one on the currency. Oh, it's not a big deal. You're like, oh man.
I think it's just communication. You just social, cultural conditioning. Everything's cultural conditioning. It's just we just need to reprogram our culture conditioning.
Yeah.
And we talk.
just need to. It's like even the wording, like we gotta be conscious also, like that we're creating a spell reality type, and also practicing a lot of times not speaking. Like me and Prism, a lot of times don't need to speak. We just feel, that's why we have our third eye and our psychic energy, just to into that. And when we don't feel like maybe we're in tune to speak, create a habit to take a moment to breathe. And another thing that I find important to have some silence signs, like on divine silence. Like right now I don't want to talk. Maybe I'm not ready yet to express something, and then I'm not feeling okay. I'm also a human being. So we can do other things like that too.
Within the framework of agreements, we take account of all these concerns, and then we boil that down to, I agree to this process if such and such condition is met. And does everyone feel good about that? Yes, that takes in account all the variables. But now we have an agreement that is kind, I hear you saying, that is supportive of their growth, that can be fun and also be turned into a game. And more importantly, builds trust every step of the way.
I feel also like we're already doing it. We're talking about processes, but this is one of the processes that we should do. We should come together. We should smoke some ganja so we can ease, and actually put our heart and minds into the decision making, our heart and minds. And from here, we can probably write down the processes, and all of us receive a paper with those processes so we can go and tell all the other people that are here in this community.
Yeah.
And then as a collective, as when everyone understands what's going on, all of us can come together and then ask, are we okay with this? Where can we change? Da, 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 da. But at least the basic, which is us few here, at least the basic is boiled down to. We know we don't want, let's say, for example, rock and roll music. We don't want to have pornography. We don't want to have, things like that. We boil it down to where is the vision, what do we see as a collective, and then spread it. Spread it and then come together once again.
I would
So
even
we
just
can
say attract it. It would self-attracts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Resonate it.
So,
Keeping.
can I share an inner experience with you guys? So as you guys talk about this, I know in the core of my being, it's time to start creating this. Like, it's time. We need to do this now. We don't have
This is
time
our
to
trial.
wait. We may not be at that place spiritually yet where we're powerful enough to embody this alone, but we can embody it together. Like, if those of us who are committed to becoming this new way of life, if we can actually become it together so strongly that we can then carry that energy out into the world with us as we travel, it's going to be powerful.
Amen.
And on my spiritual journey right now, I'm coming up to this place where I'm being called by Spirit to step into this bigger version of myself, this higher version of myself that isn't afraid to be the creator being that I am. Stepping into my creatorness and realizing that I get to create the world that I want to live in. And so I'm being called to this level of leadership. I'm so fucking afraid of it. And I don't know how to let that fear go. And I don't know if you guys have any insights on...
Yeah, it's just a fear. It's
I,
fine.
it's like I don't know how...
Yeah.
I'm really good at letting these things
It's
go
good to
and
say your
process it.
intentions and your fears. Those
I
are
just-
two key first starting
keep
points
your-
in moving forward.
To keep your heart, we learned earlier, to keep your heart aflame, you have to dive into the flame every time
So
you
what's
have
the
something in
exact
front of
fear?
you that's
Mhm.
saying run away, run away.
Mm.
you
What's
just
the
gotta
exact fear?
Step into
It's gonna
it
look.
and
It's
just
gonna
do
look
it.
weird, or
And
As
also-
long as it feels
I'll
like
be
it's
judged.
And also
Totally.
when you
The world's
when
gonna-
you see your purpose, when you see your vision, when you see really where you want to go, and you see it every day, you discipline yourself to see it every day, and if it changes, it changes, because this vision of yours is not concrete. It can evolve into something else. So one day, again, you have to go with the flow. One day you wake up and you see more colors than ever, or the other day you see darkness. It's fine. You just have to envision it always. Try to envision what is it that you can create with love and with passion.
On.
That's what you need. Once you have that, fear goes away. Once you have the clear vision, and it can change all the time.
It's like the little one's afraid of locking onto that vision. It's like it's afraid that if it really goes after it and fails, that no one will love me. I think that's the fear. So that I'll make a fool of myself, and no one will love me if I really embrace who I am.
Can I do something with you guys for a sec? All right, just I want you to just imagine it failing. Everything we've been trying for fails. Here we are, still in the room. It's like a bankruptcy. You're bankrupt. You have to start all over.
I feel like if we fail, this whole fucking world's gonna die. And our whole species is gonna fucking go extinct. I spent my whole life trying to figure out how to change things. Yeah. This is the only thing that I've been able to come up with, is that we have to change what's in our hearts, and we have to change how we interact with each other. And we have to step into this higher state of consciousness, where we realize we're not the story, we're not the drama. We're the fucking universe experiencing itself in a body. What the fuck? I mean, when you realize that, it changes everything. But you're still carrying all that weight of the human.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great that we're doing those exercises by what our brother just expressed, the fear of. That's just ego there, the baby that we gotta always work on it, thinking of the failure, approval, or need to pretend or be in a certain type of way or label. So once we just allow and see and feel as one and imagine that reality and stay, most importantly, on the breath, on that moment.
And be defenseless.
Not in the past, not in the future, because I did that way and didn't work out. I should, I could, I had to. You should, she should. That's all really not divine talk to ourselves. So once we let it go, all that, and we just present here in the moment now, and then we realize that's all it is the gift, is now, is what we have, and any plan can change at any